What's up, folks? Welcome to my week 4 AscendedGrizzly Journey. This one is gonna have its main focus on the DeFiFranc. The platform is right now live, so I'm gonna go ahead, explain it pretty simplistically and show you an overview of how it actually works. And I'm also gonna take a look at my earnings progression to see where I'm at in regards to the GrizzlyFi platform. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so let's familiarize ourselves with the DeFiFranc platform, GrizzlyFi's newest edition. It's built on the Ethereum blockchain and it has two native tokens. The DCHF, their own stablecoin pegged to the Swiss franc, and the Moneta token, the native token of the platform itself. Now, there are two ways to acquire the DCHF token actually. The first one is through borrowing. If you're not familiar with borrowing, we're gonna discuss this really soon. And you can also get the Moneta token, stake it into a staking pool and get DCHF on top of ETH and BTC in return. The Moneta token is actually live right now and has a price point of about 1.5 to 1.6 USD. It was given away to GHNY holders during a certain month based on their holdings. Also, there was an ICO of 1 million tokens that were raised, and there's a giveaway as well. Now, since it's live, you can also purchase it on Uniswap, where you can acquire more Moneta tokens if you want to stake them and get DCHF and ETH/BTC in return. Now, let's go back to the borrowing part. So, if you haven't done this before, it's actually something where you deposit or somewhere an underlying asset like ETH and BTC in this case as collateral. Meaning if you default on returning the debt because you're going to borrow funds, so you have to return that debt. If you cannot do that, they're going to take away your collateral. So, you have to think of it of a place where you put a certain asset, and the more you put in, the less risky it is for you to return that asset back, because there's a certain collateral ratio, and the average on the platform is about 180% right now. So the more that is, the better it is for you. So let's assume you want to borrow 2000 DCHF. You can increase your collateral to 2 to 3 ETH, for example. Then you're in a good spot where for example, your default rate ETH has to drop to about 400 to 500 USD, where you can default and get liquidated. So keep that in mind. We're gonna check that on the platform soon as well. So for the staking pool, where you stake Moneta and get DCHF and ETH/BTC, there's a certain market set APR based on supply and demand. And the Moneta token that was given away is actually vested for 365 days. And the airdrops that happen for GHNY holders that are going to go live on the 18th of October actually are going to be vested for 1,000 days. One more thing I want to talk about, and I guess this is the main asset of the platform, it's the stability pool. It's a place where you can actually park your DCHF tokens to get either BTC or ETH. There are two places where mainly two stability pools. And the market set APR is again based on supply and demand. It's about 200 to 300 APR right now, APY, sorry. So it's pretty impressive. And if you think of it as a full cycle, you are in the right spot. So imagine if you don't want to go the borrowing route with DCHF, you can buy Moneta, stake it, get DCHF, ETH and BTC, stake that DCHF, get more BTC and ETH, then use your rewards to borrow against DCHF and do the same thing over and over again. You're gonna be increasing your positions in these three tokens and getting more rewards for your trouble, basically. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool if you do the math and play the game right. Okay, so I have the DeFiFranc platform in front of me. So let's just talk about a few key giveaways here to understand whatever I just showed you in action, basically. So here it is. Yeah, you have everything. So on the dashboard, you're gonna have all the metrics, the main metrics, the total TVL, the ETH, as well as BTC staked. Those are the underlying assets for borrowers. How much is in circulation when it comes to DCHF, the number in stability pool. In circulation means that, again, so this is where if you wanna buy the DCHF token, and by buy, I mean that you borrow it, that's where you get it from. And the stability pool is where you have all the DCHF staked between quotation marks, and the total collateral ratio. So all the borrowers right now they have different collateral ratio based on whatever they want to put in and how much they want to take out, right? So the average is that much. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, so the more you put in versus the less you borrow, the higher collateral ratio is. I think the minimum that this platform allows is about 110%, and it's actually very advisable to go above 150% if you are risk averse. So 110% is still kind of risky. Anything below that, it's very risky and I wouldn't recommend it at all. So if I click on borrow right now, you can choose which underlying asset you want to choose from, ETH or BTC. So let's just quickly go to ETH just to get an idea. So this is where you deposit your collateral. So let's assume I want to put 2 ETH and I want to borrow 2000 DCHF tokens. You can see that my ratio is clearly above 110%, which is the recommended amount, but sorry, not the recommended amount, but the minimum amount, but still way below the recommended amount, because 1 ETH is about 1,300 right now, and 2 is what, 2.6, and I'm basically getting 2000 DCHF, which are about $2,000. And you can clearly see my liquidation price, which is not so far off from ETH's current price. So any market turmoil or any market sudden drop could basically take me to my liquidation price, where I'm going to lose my ETH. And then what ends up happening here is that my debt will be repaid in DCHF that is going to be burned. And all the ETH that I lost because I got liquidated will go to the stability pool to reward the DCHF staker. So this is how it essentially works. So I think if I deposit about 3 ETH, then I'm fine. You see, I'm almost equal to the total collateral ratio. And for me to get liquidated, ETH has to drop to 733 CHF, which is highly unlikely in my opinion, or at least anytime soon. So this is how it essentially works. So I also mentioned the staking part, where you can put your Moneta token and get DCHF ETH BTC. That's how much the APR is right now. It's pretty impressive. The stability pool has a lesser APR, but still pretty good. So anything above 100% is pretty impressive. So this is where you stake your DCHF, you get ETH or BTC. I also didn't mention that previously, but you can also earn the Moneta token in the stability pool. You see it's right here. You stake DCHF to earn these two. All right, so shifting over to my investment sheet. So this is where I'm at currently. I covered previously, so on the last time I covered my updates when it comes to earnings, progression, and all that good stuff. GHNY can now be traded on gate.io. So this is the centralized exchange that was announced. So the announcement was made, and then it was that, and then you can trade it right now over there on top of MaxCS. So there are 2 currently exchanges that can offer you the GHNY token, and I'm sure there will be more. I also mentioned that you can also trade it on the BuySwap DEX. So the left part we have covered. So I mentioned how much I took in profit, what do I have right now when it comes to investments, and the middle part is my current situation. So first things first, they reduced the B efficiency level in the mixed hive to 100 from 125. The stable hives remain the same. My projection when it comes to daily earnings are more or less the same. One thing I added though is that I put some money that I took from GHNY, so my rewards in GHNY, I took this amount and I allocated 1.31 GHNY tokens in the GHNY BNB hive. So I'm gonna be adding also earnings progressions there when I reach a certain amount that is more or less tradable, on top of a certain amount that is gonna be also more or less tradable on the honeypot. Then we can add them inside the monthly projection or the daily also projection part, so we can know how much we're making in these investment vehicles. But right now they're not making so much, so they're not even worth putting here. So you can see that I have about $7,110 invested right now in the platform altogether, distributed. And ever since I made my previous video, I have collected about 2.31 GHNY tokens, which I allocated back inside the platform, and I'm gonna be doing that from now on. So I won't be taking any profits, so I won't be selling any GHNY tokens. Everything I make is gonna go back into the platform, either in the honeypot or the GHNY BNB hive. So that's my current plan right now. So all the projections and how much these hives are making in terms of APR are more or less the same as what I previously covered. Even though the B efficiency level decreased, it didn't differ that much. Now what I'm gonna be doing in the near future, I'm gonna be putting more money both into the BNB, USD1 and the USDT USDC, so the stable hive. So I'm planning to put about 1.5k altogether and then monitor my progress from there. Now that amount can be clearly seen on my dashboard. If I go to the app itself, it's a bit less here because here they don't take into consideration how much I have into the freezer. So I have about 1.65 tokens if you check my freezer. So that's 1, that's 65. So if you do the math and you multiply this by the price of 60.33 bucks more or less, you're gonna get about 7,100, which I have right now. And speaking of the price, it's been actually hovering in the 58 or let's say 55 to 62 range. So perhaps it found a decent floor, but let's see where this takes us, because I'm sure the team will take the GHNY token because it's the main one, so it's the native token of everything. It is gonna be coming up and add so many more utilities to it. And the one that I'm really looking forward to are the single staking pools, and that's why I'm accumulating, or I'm trying to accumulate as much GHNY tokens as I can. Alright, that's it from me today. Thank you for sticking around and listening to everything I had to say, and I really hope I brought you some value with this. If you really want to learn more about the DeFiFranc and how, for example, the DCHF keeps its peg and more of that good stuff, check the Gitbook on the website and go to the Telegram, check the YouTube, and stay informed with everything that is going on within the platform. So GrizzlyFi/DeFiFranc. Now, I'm glad that you guys are sticking around with all of these videos, so the weekly ones. So I'm gonna keep doing those updates plus weekly earnings progression. Now I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen next. So yeah, big hopes here. And a sub to the channel, as always, would be amazing. It really helps us new kids around the block stay motivated to dish out better, more valuable content to everyone and expose this word we love the most to more people. So I thank you and appreciate you in advance for doing so. And as always, take care of your finances and trade responsibly. This was Roy with DeFi Ascension. Thanks for watching.